Really appreciate all of you sticking around. In the history of UK women's soccer, there have been only 2 All-Americans before this year. And now we have 2 in the same year. So we've literally doubled it in 1 year. And it's very exciting and very deserved. I was listening to Cal talk about loving the grind and how important it is to love the grind in order to be great. And it's exactly what we talk about all the time in our program, that the players that are successful are the soccer junkies. They're the ones that, we have to kick them off the field and say, okay, go do something else. And Arin and Stu are great examples of that. Quick story about each one of them. I think the greatest conflict that you can have between a coach and a player is unfulfilled potential. And it causes unbelievable friction when a coach keeps pushing and a player keeps fighting. And about a year ago even, that's where Stuart Pope and I were. I kept telling her about her unbelievable potential. I kept telling her if you would just do the work, you would be fantastic. And she kept thinking that I was a pain in her butt for saying it. And she totally admits that now. She went home and was unhappy with me, and I was unhappy with her. And she made a decision this time last year, after her second year playing here, only about 20 minutes a game, literally. And it's unbelievable to think back and realize that. And she went home and she decided, I'm going to find out. I'm going to be as great as I can be, whatever that is. And she is now one of the top players in the country. I can't tell you the number of coaches that have come up to me either after games or watching film of us saying, Stuart Pope is such a special player. And for her to do that and have she has 1 B, she's still angry about that, all A's and 1 B in her career here, shows how hard she works on and off the field and who she is as a person. So it's gone from literally somebody that would do anything to stay out of my office to somebody that's there all the time. And it's very special, and this is very deserved. Arin Gilliland is somebody that most people know better. And Arin gets ready tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. is leaving for another national camp. I'm going to fly down Tuesday just to watch her play in a scrimmage to continue to help her at that level and evaluate her at that level. There was a big moment for Arin. As you guys know, I love to make people uncomfortable. I love to make my players uncomfortable and push them and ask them to do things that they don't think they're capable of. And for Arin, that was being a leader. That was doing things besides just going out and playing. She is the fantastic player that just wants to be left alone to play. And as we pushed more and more, there was finally a breaking point in preseason this year. And we were sitting in the soccer lounge, and she started crying. And she will kill me for telling you this because she doesn't cry or admit it. And she started crying and she started yelling at me. Now imagine this. Here I am as a coach, and I have a fantastic player, a player who's supposed to be a leader, who is literally yelling at me and crying. You have to decide as a coach what you think of this. I thought that it was amazing to see her absolutely bare her soul to me and be angry at me and be willing to admit how angry she was that I was asking her to do things that she didn't feel she could do, and that I was pushing her too far, too fast. And it was a big turning point for us because it meant we could talk about anything. It meant she could tell me that she was unhappy with something. And it really showed me that she was ready. The irony is at the exact moment that she was saying, this is too much, it told me she was ready. She was ready for this. She was ready to be the next level of maturity as a soccer player, as a young woman. And really from that moment on, I felt like she took off, and we have no idea how far she's going to go. So special moments that I've had with each one of them. 2 incredible honors, and this is a great honor for them individually, but obviously that comes from us doing well. If we weren't winning games, if we weren't doing well as a program, we wouldn't get individual honors, and that's something we talk about, that this comes down to the team always. So thank you for listening.
How did Arin go from that self-doubt to believe in yourself to be able to do it?
Day by day. I think first of all, it's hard to make a player that's that great uncomfortable. And I think one of the mistakes that leaders, coaches, teachers make a lot of times is that our top players, our top performers don't get pushed and don't get coached. It's the squeaky wheel, right, that gets the grease. Well, what do you do for a kid who comes in and is so fit, has worked so hard in the off season, has gone and played with the Portland Thorns, has been at all these national camps? What am I supposed to do? Well, what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to push her. And again, going back to what Cal and Matthew and all the other coaches here say all the time, there is always another level. We have to find that next level. And for her, it was about making her uncomfortable in a way that she didn't like, and her being told, no, you're going to do this, and you can do this, and you can do it if you decide to. And but I also probably think that it took a little bit of me having a gentler hand at times, and that was my fault and my poor coaching, and she corrected that, and I think that helped a lot also.
You touched on it quite a bit already, but the fact that these two players have had such a different path, how rewarding is it to see them come to this endpoint together after those two different paths?
It's incredible. The number one thing that we pride ourselves on here is the development of our players. I think that the typical thing to do is say our goal is to win this championship, and therefore we have to do X, Y, and Z. We do it exactly the opposite here. Our goal here is to get better every day. Our goal here is to have each one of our players perform to her greatest ability, and that's what leads to someone like Kayla King going from a walk-on goalkeeper to a senior captain, leading us through the NCAAs, or Kara Ledman coming in as a forward and being converted and now being an all SEC back. These things come from individual development, and it doesn't matter where you start if you're willing to put in the work. And I think that the stories are obviously very dissimilar, but the reason they come together is because of their work and they're willing to do the grind.
How do you determine when to continue pushing and when to have a gentler?
Courtney Wiesler, who is my director of operations, asks me questions like that almost every day in the office, and I love it because she's mentoring her has been fantastic, and she's going to be a fantastic young coach one day. I mean, she's already doing tremendous stuff in the youth soccer world, and I love getting those questions. And usually I go, it's a feel. You have to know your players as human beings. So how do I know? I have to know what they're going through in their lives. I have to know what they can handle. I have to know who they are. You cannot be cookie cutter. It just doesn't work. And a lot of times I find out because by trial and error. Sometimes I'm just wrong. But I think if we see it as we're doing this together, which was the problem with Stuart before, we weren't on the same page. If we're doing it together, then it's very easy to know when to push and when to pull back because the players are communicating. But we all want to be at a comfortable place in our lives, all of us. And our job is to make sure that we're pushing them past what they think they're capable of.
Do the other players look to Arin and Pope as stepping up to be that leader, since you have so many seniors leave this year?
Definitely. I mean, it's first of all, Arin being a captain as a junior is a big deal. I mean, it's typically it's seniors, and we had great leadership from our seniors, but it was clear that Arin needed to be in that role. As the season went on, Stuart definitely stepped up, and Stuart and Gilly, as different as they are, becoming close friends, I think, has led a lot to that also. And but everyone has to find ways to lead. Even someone who is a freshman who has only been here a day can find something to say in a leadership role, and that's a very big part of our program. So we're always looking for the next one.
What's the program looking forward to? You talked about the All-Americans being a team thing, so what are you doing in the offseason?
First of all, just getting back together. It's very difficult being apart, and I was telling somebody the story today that We defeated Ohio State in the NCAA tournament, and the next Monday we're on the field, and my first thought was, we get another week together. We're assured of at least another week together because we just love being on the field together. So just getting back and doing things will be first. We'll be focusing now on a lot of work on agility, strength, building lean muscle mass, and being better athletes, and injury prevention will be the huge part now in our fitness. We're in a restricted time of only 8 hours when we come back to school. For about 6 weeks, it's 8 hours a week, and only 2 can be with the ball. They can play pickup and do their own thing, but I can only instruct them for 2 hours. So it's not my favorite time. I disagree with the NCAA limiting. If they want to limit the hours, great, but limiting time with the ball, would you tell a basketball player you're only allowed to touch the ball 2 hours a week? Well, no, that makes no sense. So I think it's a big mistake, but it is what it is, and we'll live with it. So those are the things we'll focus on, and then late February we'll be back into our regular training.